Where were you when you got the call?
We was in Houston. We were shooting a video.
Durk not only spoke out, but soon after he revealed his whereabouts when King Vaughn was shot and died. His cousin Beau made a shocking accusation. The unthinkably strange things King Vaughn did at the hospital before he passed away were also disclosed by Durk.
He hopped off the bed after the second surgery and supposedly started fighting the nurse.
Early on November 6th, 2020, Devin Dean Bennett, the government name of up-and-coming drill artist King Von, died, shocking the hip-hop community. Let's take a look at everything that seems to have happened in his final hours. Following the murder, everything was beginning to settle down when it was revealed that Lil Durk had unexpectedly confessed to Vaughn's insanity just before he passed away. Did Van really lose his mind before he passed away? In Los Angeles, I'm outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge. It was cold on the street after Beau Van's cousin had lost his temper over the situation in the hospital just before King Van's death. If he hadn't gone crazy there, he claimed, Vaughn would still be alive.
He hopped off the bed after the second surgery and supposedly started fighting the nurse and asked the nurse where's his gun at, something like that. And then he died because he went into shock. So I'm guessing if he would just laid there, he probably.
Most devotees believe King Van died instantly, but his close friend insists he breathed his last breath in the hospital. Before delving too much into it, allow me to update yourself on the day's sad happenings. After releasing his debut project, Welcome to Oblak, King Van was living his finest life in Atlanta on a normal evening when he passed away. As Van grew, he became well known for his authentic street tales and storytelling skills. Who knew that bro would be gone forever by 3:20 a.m. daylight? Outside the hookah spot, a heated altercation broke out between two squad van crews and three individuals rolling with Quando Rondo. Jaw-jacking back and forth started, and it quickly escalated to hands being thrown. Later, King Vaughn was seen growling and snarling at Quando's companions in security footage. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation later confirmed that the first disagreement turned into a full-scale shooting. When the smoke cleared, two police officers, one on duty and one off, troubled multiple straps while trying to settle the situation. As King Vaughn caught a number of slugs and dispersed their heads, the scene transformed. Vaughn was taken to the nearest hospital in someone's whip rather than by ambulance after being brought into a home of crazy while seriously bleeding. The speed at which bro obtained the care he needed might have been altered by this unconventional approach to medical treatment. Did you mind while this was popping off? Lil Durk, real name Durk Derek Banks, was not even in the A. He was posted up in H-Town, Texas. Durk later verified his location that evening, stating, "No, we were in Houston. We were filming a video." I believe that Smirk's physical seclusion kept him from being there for his men during those crucial final hours, which it must still torment him.
One of my favorite rappers ever was King Von.
Yeah.
You had a great relationship with him, obviously.
Yeah.
Where were you when you got the call?
We was in Houston. We were shooting a video, I think.
How Durk found out about the scenario is likewise bizarre. As the news of Van's shooting started to roll in, he was live on Instagram, and viewers caught his raw reaction of shock and despair as he took in the horrific information. His face was clearly in distress as he tried to make sense of what people were saying while thousands watched. About his right-hand man, Van was reportedly fighting for his life during a turbulent period in the hospital, though the public is not privy to many details of his actions there. Durk gave indications that Vaughn was still on demon time, even as he was fading away. The claim that Vaughn lost his mind while in the hospital would suggest that he was adamant about fighting despite having caught them shells, or he was still behaving out because of the trauma, even after the doctors tried to help him. Organs, resulting in harm too great to be remedied with medication. A bright voice from the trenches was cut off before he could reach his full potential. Social media users swiftly shared the news of Van's passing. Media, including condolences from fans and other artists. Lil Durk's first public response, shortly after going months without posting on social media, was a devastating post that simply stated, "My twin is gone. I love you, bro," with numerous broken heart emojis. In order to fully comprehend how Van's passing affected Durk, he underwent an unparalleled internet detox, which showed how profound his grief was. To acknowledge that they were blood brothers without the DNA, and their relationship went beyond business. They shared the same survival mentality and faced comparable struggles growing up in Oblak, one of the most notorious areas on Chicago's South Side. Durk's support for Vaughn went beyond only music. He helped keep Van afloat during his attempts and helped him transition to rap after landing. As Van said, the financial support was essential to Van's survival and eventual success, and it fostered a devotion that went beyond business. Durk and Vaughn had a close musical relationship, with Durk bringing Vaughn into his Only the Family label, which allowed under Durk Van's tutelage, Vaughn developed his storytelling technique, creating those unforgettable street stories that made listeners wonder if they were real or made up. From being just another guy with a rap dream to becoming a legitimate voice from the streets, their mutual admiration was genuine, and Durk often praised Van's narrative skills, calling him one of the best. Years of storytellers, that's ever been a rap. In his interview with No Jumper, Van disclosed that Durk would physically put him in positions to be seen, bringing him to interviews and opening doors for his career. This wasn't just hype, though. It was real acknowledgement of Van's ability to use words to create images that had listeners totally absorbed in his world. For example, "Come on, business down here," Van explained, showing how Durk was actively placing him in positions that would boost his visibility and artistic development. In many ways, King Von was Durk's beacon of hope for the future. He was a talented artist whose ascent suggested that there was a way out of the trenches. Van's death not only ended his promising future, but it also seriously harmed Durk's plans for his larger. The events of November 6, 2020 not only marked the death of King Von, but also a turning point in Lil Durk's personal and professional lives. The loss of his best friend, whom he called his twin, would have a profound impact on his future actions, music, and life decisions. The grief, anger, and sense of obligation sparked by this tragedy would ultimately lead to a series of events that continue to this day. While the streets were still processing Van's death, the law was already in effect. On November 7, 2020, a day after the shooting, when Timothy Lou Tim Leaks, a 22-year-old Quando Rondo associate, was arrested on felony murder charges related to Van's death. Leaks was arrested at Grady Hospital while he was being treated for a gunshot wound, indicating that he was also struck. The arrest seemed to provide a specific time frame during the turbulent debate, and when security footage of King Vaughn running at Quando Rondo Associates and throwing his hands first appeared online, it supported the story that Vaughn had been shot dead by someone in Rondo's camp during the fight outside the hookah lounge, and everyone was playing detective. As much confusion as clarity. The LUL team posted a $100,000 bond and fled on March 27, 2021, about 4 months after Van's imprisonment, angering Van's supporters and associates who thought the alleged shooter was back on the streets while Vaughn was gone forever. Many started to question the system, and the case took a surprising turn on August 20, 2023, when Leaks was charged with felony murder. In a controversial decision that caused a great deal of controversy among Van's supporters and loved ones, Noah Pines Leaks' lawyer confirmed the dismissal, saying that prosecutors found the shooting was justified under Georgia's Stand Your Ground law, which allows people to use deadly force if they reasonably believe they are in danger without having to flee first. With no legal justice in sight, the legal outcome only served to intensify an already tense situation, giving Quando Rondo's supporters and team the sense that the system had failed them and validating their claim that Leaks were only protecting Rondo from an aggressor. Fans launched a grassroots campaign calling on Lil Durk to slide for Vaughn, which is essentially saying that fans are pressuring Durk to get. Durk should have slid for Vaughn. They were like brothers, and I'm positive that if someone had popped, my brother, one of us, would have been dead. The pressure on Durk to react violently to his friend's death was omnipresent, particularly on social media sites where fans publicly shared their expectations. One Reddit user's comment received 7 upvotes. The Slide for Vaughn's movement represented a perilous intersection of street code and fan culture, positioning Durk in an impossible situation. Either ignore the calls and appear disloyal to Van's memory or reply with. Although Durk remained calm in public, rarely showing emotion in interviews or appearances, his pain was evident in other ways during this period, as he performed Van's songs during his shows and often name-dropped Vaughn in his songs. The pressure of these expectations, along with the risk of violence and facing charges or worse, as well as his own grief, created a heavy burden, and continued using visual allusions to him in social media posts and music videos. These tributes were Durk's method of honoring Van, not just a way to preserve his memory, of dealing with his loss in interviews.
That moment. We never seen that moment where you're like, yo, listen, I'm going through a lot right now. Just give me some time more. And I've always said, damn, does he mourn? You know, obviously you lost
Everybody mourn. You know, everybody show emotions, but I just can't see myself just doing this. Damn, man, this crazy, man. It's like
August 19th, 2022, almost 2 years after Van's death, a shooting happened at a gas station near the Beverly Center Mall in Los Angeles. Quando Rondo was the apparent target, but the bullets killed his. This horrible event would later be connected to the ongoing fallout after King Vaughn's killing, suggesting that Quando Rondo's group had struck cousin Sava Robinson, also known as Lou Pab, as part of the cycle of retaliation. The events that resulted in Lou Pab's death marked a dramatic escalation of the battle between the forces associated with King Vaughn and Quando Rondo. While no one was taken into custody at the time, investigations were initiated that would eventually provide shocking details about planned revenge during these turbulent times. King Vaughn's well-known album, What It Means to Be King, was published in March 2022, and it debuted at number 2 on the Van's position as a well-known hip-hop artist, whose influence extended beyond his brief involvement in the genre, was cemented by his Billboard 200, which showed that his music had an impact long after his death. Durk himself emphasized this, calling Vaughn one of the greatest storytellers in rap history, and this narrative skill in particular has been recognized as a major contribution to drill music. Despite his musical accomplishments, Vaughn's most well-known artistic quality and the cornerstone of his reputation remains his ability to produce visually arresting cinematic portrayals of street life. Van's impact on his area, especially Oblak, has been highlighted repeatedly since his death. Stories about his generosity, devotion, and commitment to helping his people have dominated the narrative around his life. These aspects of his character provide some balance to the more problematic facets of his past, such his extensive criminal record and street activities. Posthumous revelations of Van's alleged involvement in serious crimes have further complicated his reputation, including the 2014 shooting incident of Gakira Key Barnes. Together with these legal revelations, these charges, which were based on openly accessible police records, further complicate the already intricate story of his life and impact. According to a January 2023 publication, a confidential informant referenced in these documents stated that Van had paid for the head of FBG Duck, another Chicago rapper who was murdered in August 2020. Initially, Van had, even though these allegations have not been proven in court, they contribute to the controversial nature of Van's reputation. FBG Duck's mother filed a wrongful death lawsuit in October 2024 after receiving a $50,000 payment for the hit, which was later doubled to a $100,000 lawsuit against King Von's estate and Lil Durk Records, claiming that they profited from her son's death via incompetence and misconduct, which further clouded Van's posthumous legacy with ongoing legal fights and controversies. Notwithstanding these disagreements, Van's musical endeavors continued to garner positive reviews from fans and other artists, and his unique voice, compelling narratives, and authentic perspective on street life have solidified his place in drill rap. Lil Durk has played an important part in maintaining Van's legacy by frequently performing his songs and bringing him up in interviews and music when asked about his influence on a new generation of musicians that draw inspiration from his work. "I told him I was one if he didn't rap, but of course I'm always keeping it alive," Durk said about the method. "You go in there like that's how powerful it named me, like outside all the bulls you always live on there. You understand that this commitment ensures Van's artistic endeavors will always be viewed by viewers and influence society. The aftermath of King Van's passing also revealed the immense stress that fans' expectations may be placed on artists, especially those from neighborhoods where street justice is accepted. The Slide for Vaughn campaign, which was carried out on social media, was a worrying illustration of the real and entertainment differences.
They used to say it, but you also mentioned a song. They be like, they be saying Slide for Vaughn. I think they trolling me. Yo, by the way, that song is fire. I ain't gonna lie.
For some reason, I just don't see the comments no more.
This phenomena raises important concerns about fan accountability and the impact that these expectations have on Lil Durk's conduct and emotional well-being. Since Van's death, there has been a substantial personal change in the workplace. His songs have become more reflective and often deal with themes of sadness, loyalty, and resilience. After Van's death, his album Nearly Healed explores themes of suffering and the never-ending battle. In expressing his suffering, Durk has admitted in the title that certain wounds never fully heal. Lupab's passing due to the assault on Wando Rondo's group was that the complete details of this encounter would not be revealed until later court proceedings, but it marked a significant turning point that would ultimately have a significant impact on the continuing narrative surrounding Vaughn's death. Ramifications for all parties involved. Lil Durk's legal battle was not a minor one. On October 25, 2024, he was arrested on significant federal charges near Miami International Airport, shocking rappers. Beef with the law, but major federal accusations like conspiracy to commit murder for pay and the arrest of the US Marshals had the entire culture talking. The hip-hop community's reaction to Durk's booking was DJ Academics, who has covered Durk and Vaughn extensively throughout the course of their careers, captured the feelings of many when he broke down on his live stream, stating, "Man, I fell down on my. When the law was revealed, everyone fell to their knees."
Muted. Hold on. I'm about to be muted back in. I'm gonna tell you right now. Oh my God. Oh. I'm not trolling. I promise you.
Durk had recently received a Grammy Award, so the timing of his arrest couldn't have been worse. But as more details came to light, a grim picture emerged. As retaliation for King Von's death, federal authorities said Durk had ordered a hit on Wando Rondo, who managed to avoid being shot. In August of 2022, his cousin Sava Robinson Lou Pab was slain in the attack in Los Angeles. The potential consequences of these accusations were made even more dire by the fact that All My Life, which included J.C. Cole, won the prize for Best Melodic Rap Performance. Cole's career was at its peak in February 2024, just before the release of his album Deep Thoughts on November 22nd of the same year. 5 members of Durk's Only the Family team were also arrested and charged in connection with the alleged conspiracy after being imprisoned. US Magistrate Judge Patricia Donahue refused bail during a detention hearing on December 12, 2024, pointing to Durk's enormous wealth and flight risk. In his pleas, Durk has insisted on his innocence. On October 25, 2024, Durk appeared before the US District Court for the Southern District of Florida for the first time. He was directed to be sent to Los Angeles for arraignment, not guilty of all charges, and he is being defended by renowned defense attorney Drew Finley of Atlanta, who has previously represented former President Donald Trump. On April 21, 2025, Finley filed a motion to dismiss the case, challenging the prosecution's evidence, particularly the use of song lyrics as evidence of criminal intent, which was a major point of contention in the case. Focuses on Durk's song Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, which the prosecution says makes reference to the shooting. They believe the song reflects a news tape taken after the shooting, in which Wando Rondo is heard saying "no, no" after seeing Robinson's body. In response, Durk's defense team claims that the lyrics were composed months before the shooting and are unrelated to it incident. The trial was originally set for January 7, 2025, but was rescheduled for October 14, 2025, after the prosecution and defense agreed that the case is so unique and complex, which stems from the vast amount of evidence, including over 230 gigabytes of digital evidence and more than 20,000 pages of reports beyond the criminal charges. A civil lawsuit is presently pending against Durk. Xavier Robinson's mother, Andrea Laquila Robinson, filed a death lawsuit on February 26, 2025, alleging that Durk, his business manager, the family record label, and another corporation are responsible for Robinson's demise. The gunshot was described as a targeted strike in the lawsuit. Durk's charges, which go beyond the Quando Rondo case, have alarmed prosecutors. The charges were used to deny Durk pre-trial freedom because he may have been involved in a second murder-for-hire case involving the 2022 murder of 24-year-old Stefan Mack, believed to be a gangster disciples leader, even though he has not been charged in this case. The slide for Vaughn phenomena and its potential repercussions have been hotly debated since Durk's federal indictment. Social media posts in October 2024 highlighted this connection, stating, "Fans are blaming internet trolls for pressuring Lil Durk to retaliate after King Vaughn was murdered and kept asking Durk to slide for Vaughn. He did it. Now he's locked up." This account suggests that fan pressure may have played a part in Durk's actions. The alleged decision to inflict revenge, interview.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. I know this sounds f***ed up, but I got about 5 rappers I think I would have donated today. Take them. Not him. Not Smirk. Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. I f*** with Smirk, bro. I got 5 other rappers. Half of these, they just be talking. They ain't on Take them. Leave me, Durk. Oh, yo, I ain't gonna lie. Streets is dead. I think that's what we gotta say. Yeah, Streets. Oh my God, bro.
The court drama also raises questions about the connection between rap, music, and real violence, and prosecutors are utilizing Durk's lyrics as evidence, a controversial tactic that his defense team is vehemently contesting. This approach tackles broader themes of creative, the criminalization of rap music, and the use of honest expression in hip-hop. The FBI and LAPD are investigating Durk's case, and attorneys from the International Narcotics Money Laundering and Racketeering Division, the Terrorist and Export Crime Unit, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California. The matter is so important to federal officials that it is receiving a lot of attention and resources. These legal troubles have had a significant negative impact on Durk's career. He was detained a few weeks prior to the publication of his album, Deep,